You listened to him on the KVJ show for years. Every time he tried to talk sports, he'd get shut down. After years of begging, we finally gave in. Brought to you by Bremen Motor Cars in West Palm and Jupiter. A world-class experience. Visit BremenBMW.com. And by Wellington Anti-Aging. Low T, go to WellingtonAntiAging.com. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.
What's up? Welcome to the show here today, being broadcast live on YouTube. We do that sometime in the afternoon, but you can get it on demand anytime. Podcast too. Take it with you segment by segment or the whole show. Just go to Kevin's Other Show. You got it. What's up? I am your host, Kevin, here from KVJ, but I got Ricky Bobby with me today.
Yo.
We got Diener in here.
Hey there.
And dropping into the first segment today, got Leo, our boss. Going to be talking Yankees coming up here in a second. It's just fun. This is fun because yesterday we felt the way I felt, being a Marlins guy, the way he feels today. So we'll talk a little bit about what happened to his Yankees last night. Just want to hit on real quick what I wrapped up yesterday's show with. Actually became a big topic with South Florida's very own Anthony Rizzo. Basically agreeing with what I had to say with baseball being too long in their season.
I think it's too much baseball, personally. Yes, guys are going to take pay cuts, but, I mean, are we playing this game for the money or we love the game? I know there's both, but I think in the long run, it'll make everything better.
Gosh, I heard some baseball enthusiasts that were so upset with him. Couldn't even believe it. They're saying, what are you doing? Man up. Come on. Blah, 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 blah. What's wrong with you? This was a dude who was on a sports radio show that's an older guy, and he's in a northern city.
Right.
And that is their attitude. And I get it. Hey, look, when you want an excuse to go out and drink and, you know, you're in Boston and it's freezing cold and you need that excuse, yeah, stumbling out to a baseball game gives you that excuse and you'd be upset because why else are you going to drink in Boston in April? But, I mean, for what makes sense and for a business, I mean, people can't even get to the games. They've had 26 games postponed so far because of snow and cold weather.
The Yankees-Detroit series was rained out the entire weekend.
Yep.
How many times have you heard of a whole weekend just gone?
These postponements are just on cold weather. It's not even a rain type situation, so I'm not adding those in. And yeah, in the spring, you're going to have the rain. Just to be fair, even in this discussion, I'm just giving you the ones that are canceled because of that. And I guess you could throw in what happened in Toronto because they had ice and snow that caved in a portion of the dome and they couldn't play because of that. It's just insane when you got 162 games, and the only real argument for doing it is we've been doing it for over 50 years, and you'll mess up all.
It's always their argument for everything, though.
I know.
We can't change the sport.
You'll mess up all the records, and that's what baseball's all about. But your median age is getting up there. It's around 60 now for baseball, and your fan base is dying off. If you want the sport to die and nobody will care in 20 years, continue on as you're doing.
But as far as the records are concerned, don't we already have a few tainted ones? I mean, look,
with the steroid era and everything else,
the home run record's already screwed.
This isn't a pristine thing.
No,
exactly.
I mean, you know, and look, it's real simple. April showers, May flowers. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's like it. You know, you're sitting there and you're watching these games. I don't think that the Yankees have played in a game where the temperature was above 40 degrees yet.
It's true.
Sweet.
It's like, and I hate this guy was saying, you do it because it's what we do.
Yeah.
Makes
You
no
man
sense.
up. Okay, the players aren't enjoying it. They're freezing. They're aching. Their hands. I mean, imagine hitting a 98-mile-an-hour fastball with a wooden bat when it's 35 degrees outside. The fans aren't showing up, and the ones that are there are miserable. So we're going to do it just because we need to man up, and it's because it's the way we've always been doing it. That argument to me is the reason why if baseball doesn't do something and contract its season a little bit, it's going to die in 20 years.
And it's got this great opportunity right now because the NFL is keeps kicking itself. You know, the NBA's playoffs are longer than the regular season. I mean, you've got this opportunity right now with all these stars, right? Look at Ohtani out there in LA. You've got Trout, you've got, you know, Judge, you've got Stanton. Stanton. You've got all these people, Mookie. You've got all these prime players, and baseball has this opportunity to really jump back in the forefront. Yet, to your point, when it gets into the doldrums of a 6-month season, people are going to get bored. They are.
But even with the big names, name me who Mike Trout endorses besides Subway, and which he doesn't even do anymore.
Wow.
I mean, name who Bryce Harper endorses. Like they're not pushing these players to be like NBA players. Like LeBron James is in a Sprite commercial, and what's his nuts is in another. I mean, like they're not doing that, so they're not really pushing forward. And then on top of it, the NFL, the reason why they're so successful is because they've constantly changed their rules in order to make it better for the viewer.
Right.
Well, you've got to change the society too.
Of course.
And you look and see what kids are doing today, what they're into, how they consume audio and video, and you look at the experience of even just what's happening with our commerce in this country, and nobody wants to really go to a store anymore because of Amazon. You got to make it an experience, and you got to make it exciting, and 162 games makes it too long.
I'll bring up a perfect point. What is it, the RBI baseball game? To that point, who are they going after? They're going after the kids that would play that video game, and they're like, and now new 3-inning games.
Yeah, right.
It's because they want the game.
Right. Yeah.
Let's make it
I'm
shorter.
Video
the video
game,
games.
and I want the video game to even be shorter. So, it's kind of telling you what people's mindset is.
Give me more and less, and that's
Right.
it. And baseball just wants less and more, which is the exact opposite of what's going on here.
They just want everything to stay exactly the same.
And every single business that has had that model has done what?
Well, but
And
that's
the
what,
feeling.
that's what I'm
That's
saying.
it.
I mean, like that's kind of the same thing when you look at government too. It's just like we have to wait for all these old people to just die, and then once they die, then maybe we can have some change. But until these old farts are still sitting in those chairmans, I mean, there's nothing you can be able to do.
How you doing, Blockbuster?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what happens when you don't.
Too little, too late.
You won't change, right?
Well, the Marlins, who got destroyed 12-1,
Poor Leo.
somehow turned it around and wound up giving the Yankees a little bit back, 9-1 in New York. Look at that Marlins, a Miami team in the cold,
They got it done.
bringing it. And this is, I guess, we've always said since the season started, you're looking for small little victories from the Marlins because the record's not going to be good. You don't have a playoff team, but you maybe look for the next star that they're going to trade before they get to their prime.
They're in there. They're in there.
And this Harlan Garcia, I mean, is the guy. Like, he was going 10 innings strong before even giving up a hit. If you go back to the 6 innings that he threw before, and then he got some more work last night. And I'd be curious to find out from you, Leo, what is it about the Yankees that worries you the most? Is it the fact that Giancarlo Stanton is right now with a less than 200 batting average? The fact that he went 0 for 7 in the 2 games against his old team? Is he your biggest concern, or as a Yankees fan, what concerns you the most?
Man, it's just been sloppy, seemingly not really caring, uninspired baseball, and I'm so tired of the "it's only April, it's cold, these games don't matter" excuse.
You can't use that excuse against a South Florida team.
Well, and if you miss the playoffs by 2 games, guess what? 2 of those losses in April, they count, right?
Yeah.
Here's what happens. So last night, this Garcia kid, he comes out, he walked 3 people in the first inning and didn't give up a run. That's almost impossible to do.
Right. Yeah.
But what he did is he walked everybody, and he's like, "Oh, here's Stanton, ground, double play." Then he's out of the inning. I mean, Stanton scares me in this sense. Look, I know the guy's he's an all or nothing kind of guy. He strikes out a lot, but he's struck out 20 times in the home game so far. That's like a Yankee. That hasn't happened since 1901 or something. It's a weird stat.
Gosh.
But it's it's just scary to see. Even when he makes contact, it's not like he's really driving the ball. Like when he grounds out, it's weak. I mean, in the pop-up he hit last night was just he's just not looking comfortable. He's not looking like himself. If you look at film of this guy last year, you threw the ball anywhere near the plate and he was cranking that thing.
Right.
And this year he just looks lost, dude.
He's timid. He's very timid.
Yes. It's weird.
How much could the weather possibly be in his head? Because you're dealing with a California guy that has really only played in Miami, and now he's dealing with cold. I mean, is that any kind of excuse? Could that have any factor in how he's hitting?
I'm sure it sucks. Look, the Yankee fans aren't helping. I mean, they're sitting there every game, and let me tell you something.
The guy.
I didn't agree with them booing him like on the first home game after he'd hit 2 home runs in his debut game as a Yankee. But now it's getting to the point where I think the boos aren't just about Stanton. It's about Boone. Like, what are you doing? Why is he still batting third? Why didn't you move this guy down? Look, take the pressure off him a little bit. Put him down to 5th or 6th. Let him go figure some stuff out. Let him heat up. But until then, don't make him be the guy that has to be up when the bases are loaded and the game's on the line. Let him chill out a little bit. Let him get acclimated. Let him see some more pitchers from the American League and all that. But I think he's just you've shoved him in there and said, we need this now. And I think it's a little too much, honestly. Boone's got to make some adjustments. It should be Gardner, Judge, Didi, Sanchez. Then you can throw Stanton in there like 5th.
Is Didi? Is he leading the Yankees in home runs?
He is, actually. He's got 5. Judge has 4. And those are your 2 best hitters. Judge and Didi are your 2 best hitters right now. So put those back to back.
Yeah.
Put some pressure on the pitchers. And look, Stanton's becoming the guy that people are pitching around to get to. That's not good.
Right.
When you're Stanton and people are like, hey, man, just walk Judge. Let's get to Stanton.
Yeah.
That's not That
okay. Wasn't the point of this whole experiment.
No,
that wasn't the plan.
You were supposed to fear the man from Miami.
Right.
Marlins fans feeling good about Real Muto. I don't know if you saw him last night.
He's back, right?
Yeah, 2 for 4, scored twice.
Home run?
Yeah. Not
Double?
bad. Yeah, pretty solid night for him.
Look good.
Yeah. So, 2 bright spots for the Marlins, and that's not even counting the score of winning 9-1. What do you think about Jeter not going? Is that the right call? Is he playing it right, not being there at Yankee Stadium?
I think he's like, look, if I go there for this series, it's going to be all about me, and that's not what we're trying to accomplish right now. I get it. I totally do.
Coming up here in a couple of minutes on Saturday, the Lane Train going to be back in the station at Boca Raton. Boop, boop. FAU Stadium. We'll see exactly how things go down. We're going to check in with the Lane Train, and I'm just kind of curious, when he is out and about, do people bother the Lane Train, or can he go out pretty anonymously in South Florida? Lane Kiffin is going to be checking in with us coming up next.
Yep, he's here too. It's Kevin's Other Show, right here on 640 The Hurricane.
FAU, best start in school history. They'll be in the postseason for the first time since 2008.
Only officially been on the job for a few weeks, but Lane Kiffin was able to create a bit of magic.
He wakes up in the morning and it's football. He goes to bed at night, it is football.
He's here. This is his first game. You ever been to a game? Never. I'm here for Lane Kiffin.
What is this, Lane Train? Is that what that is?
Yeah, like that, right?
All right. Well, it must mean we got Coach Lane Kiffin on. What's up, Coach?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on here. That's quite an impressive intro you put together there, Diener.
No, you know what? I wish I could take credit for it, and I should.
I was going to say, dude, if this guy takes credit
Ricky,
for this,
it was
I
Ricky.
swear to God.
Coach, it was Ricky. It wasn't me. You can thank him.
It was impressive. That was like a lot of years where you got Colin Coward in there. You got all kinds of things.
Yeah, there's a lot of hype in that. That was a whole thing.
Bringing the heat, Lane. Only the heat.
Mm-hmm. Coming up on Saturday, FAU has got their spring game that is going to be going on. You can check it out at FAU Stadium. Lots of storylines going to be coming into this year, building out the success of an 11-3 season. What do you think, though, is the best storyline that you got coming into this season, though, Coach?
I think probably, Devin Singletary, our running back, was first, was a All-American, first All-American in the history of the program here. Mm-hmm. And he led the country in touchdowns with 33 or 34 touchdowns. Lead the entire country, and it's crazy as it's the third most rushing touchdowns in the history of college football. So pretty impressive for just a sophomore.
How's he doing? I know he's a little banged up right now. Is he going to be okay for Saturday, do you think?
We don't know that. We wouldn't push him to Saturday, so he probably won't play anyway, regardless Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about the quarterback situation, and I'm really intrigued to see what the offense is going to be like for people that got accustomed to watching just how fast you guys are playing in the style. Do you see with the new offensive coordinator in this year, is there going to be any change in that style? Are we going to see the same approach, at least, with your offense this year?
It's there won't be much change. We're just going to continue to build off of last year, and our offense is top 5 in the country in most categories, and so hopefully we can just continue to build off of that.
Tell me about Javon Durant. You got this West Virginia transfer that came in. He's a South Florida kid. What have you seen from him? Do you think he's going to be maybe one of your big targets this year?
Well, we kind of had a blueprint here, of studying people, and teams like Western Kentucky had done a great job in this conference, over time. And one of the main things was, is taking, transfers, that maybe were at other colleges, bigger colleges, and they got to sit out a year, but then it's worth it. And so Durant is in that category. He had to sit out after being a productive player at West Virginia, transferred back home, sat out last year, and now has really lit it up all spring.
Mm-hmm. And it seems like you are taking an active approach too. I assume the strategy, because you've had now 2 separate camps that you've done and practices that have been a little bit deeper in South Florida, south of Boca Raton, and just the other day you did one in Liberty City. The goal of that, are you trying to expose more of South Florida and recruiting to these kids to try to get them to Boca Raton?
Yeah, definitely. There's a number of things there. One, a lot of our players are from there, so it's easier for their families to come see them, scrimmage on a Saturday. So we went down there, and then recruits can come and watch us. High school coaches can watch us, and just really getting FAU out more and people more familiar with it.
Was it weird having Luther Campbell there? Because he's typically a Canes guy, so to see him like an FAU practice. And is there any truth to the story that you guys worked out to "Oh Me So Horny"?
It was not weird having him there. He's actually come a lot, since we first got here, and had a prior relationship with him, and so he's been up here a lot, and knows a lot of our players, and so it was good. He came the week before to the Fort Lauderdale one also, so it was good having him around. We did not have the right music ready. We didn't have radio edit version ready, so we really couldn't put Uncle Luke on a loudspeaker.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, it makes some sense.
Oh, that would have been great.
I'm kind of curious for you, when you bring kids in, and I think that one of the things about FAU Stadium, isn't it the only stadium in America where you can actually see the ocean from the press box? Isn't that kind of like one of the claims to fame of the stadium you play in?
I think I've heard that. I think that's been sold here, but I feel like Navy has the same thing, so I'm not really sure. I'm not sure if that's
okay.
Accurate, but we'll go with it as it sounds.
Okay, it sounds good. I mean, let's just own it. Let's run with it. What do you have a recruiting tour when you bring kids in that aren't from South Florida and you want to get them to come to FAU? Do you have a couple set stops? You say, okay, we got to show them A, B, and C.
Well, the first thing that they do is when they get here, they check into the Boca Resort. So John Tolbert, the president over there, has set us up over there, so all of our recruits and their families stay there. So, for a kid or a family coming from the Midwest or coming from Mississippi or wherever we're recruiting these kids, are blown away by that. The first thing that they see is, the Boca Resort over there. So that's a good start. And then, they get to have the beach right there and some different restaurants and things.
Talking to Coach Lane Kiffin here about the FAU Fighting Out spring game coming up on Saturday. Now, you've got some guys on your squad right now that have got a little reality show TV experience from Last Chance U. Do you think you would ever do a reality show based around Lane Kiffin and what you're doing? Would it be more of a benefit? Because I think it would be must-see viewing. Would you ever consider that, Coach?
We actually spent a lot of time considering that, and actually had a similar group here. And for a few days, and they filmed some things, so we kind of put some promos together, and just went back and forth with it, and it just was uncomfortable, because there's just so many cameras, and then you got coaches, are they really acting like they're supposed to, because they're going to be on TV,
right?
They're really coaching the same and stuff. So we went back and forth. There's a lot of benefit to it, obviously, from publicity and people seeing it, but there's some downsides too to it also.
Mm-hmm. I know when you were at Alabama, you talked about it was hard for you to even go into a grocery store because people just want to stop and it take you 5 hours to shop. Do you have the same problems in South Florida? What is it like being Lane Kiffin walking around Boca Raton in South Florida?
No, we do not have the same problems. I mean, I go to a restaurant here and no one even says anything to you, you know, or maybe one person walks by and says, hey, you know, great season last year, you know, it was awesome coming to the games. You know, it's very different than, it doesn't mean which way is good or bad. It's just completely opposite. And, you know, your Tennessees, your Alabamas, you know, football is the number one most important thing in the whole state. And so, you know, there you're going to get stopped. You know, it's not going to be a 10-second conversation. We have a 15-minute conversation.
Yeah.
How they've been to every game since, you know, 1945. why don't you throw to the tight end down the middle more? You know, like we used to when Gene Stallings was here or something. So, very, very different.
Coming up on Saturday, what different kind of things are we going to see in the spring game? If you had to say for fans that are going to be coming out to watch the FAU Owls, new look, new offensive coordinator, you got some new defensive things that are going on as well. What would you tell people to keep an eye out on Saturday?
Well, I think there are some new players like you talked about, Durant, you know, Chris Robinson, our quarterback, you know, transferring in from Oklahoma. So they're going to see some guys they hadn't seen that maybe had been sitting out or you know, just got here. And our defense is a different style. You know, we're a little bit more multiple, a little bit more aggressive this year going into our second year. So it'll be exciting. It's supposed to be at 4. We just got out of a meeting. There may be some weather issues later in the evening, so it may move up to 2. We'll get that decided today, but it'll probably be either 4 o'clock or 2 o'clock.
Okay, well, you know what, Coach, you let us know. We'll get the word out there, and you got to come back on with us sometime because we worked really hard on this big produced intro, and I'd hate to do all that work and have Lane Kiffin on one time. And you're going, really? We got to shelve it. We can't get the guy back on.
You got to use it more than once.
Yeah, I mean, at least maybe twice. It'd be great to have you back on again, Coach.
You got it. Anytime.
Okay, buddy. Take care. Coach of the FAU Owls, Lane Kiffin, thanks for joining us, bud.
All right, guys. Have a great weekend.
All right,
you too, man.
You too.
There you go.
Get Kevin's other show whenever the hell you want on YouTube and at 640thehurricane.com.
I mean, give me a break already. I couldn't even believe it, man. The Knowles fans that were hitting me up because last week we had Mark Richt on with us. And I got this tweet from Gerald.
Oh, come on,
Kevin's
Gerald.
other show. He said, as a Knoll fan, we won't be following you.
Oh.
This hurts your KVJ show audience, too.
Oh,
think twice before going all in. People dedicated to their schools won't enjoy the Kane bandwagon.
Oh, give me a break. Get out of here. What's his name, Gerald?
Gerald.
Good, Gerald. We don't want you. Look at the
of
hat
all,
I'm wearing, okay?
First of all,
There you
Gerald, have you ever been to 640thehurricane.com? I recommend you do it. First of all, the name is the Hurricane. Second of all, we are home of the Hurricanes. I mean, it's...
But I will give you
and
this.
You guys are Canes fans, too.
Well,
so, I mean,
what I told Gerald, I'm like, going, first, dude, chill out.
Was I mean to him? Was I mean to Gerald? I'm sorry, Gerald.
Well, I mean, there's part of that, but it's like, you know, yes, 640, the Hurricane, if you couldn't tell, is the official station of the Hurricanes and Hurricane football. So, yeah, we'll talk to Mark Richt a little bit. But, you know, we just had on Lane Kiffin, FAU, hoop, fighting Owls.
Yeah.
We're going to cover the Knowles. We'll cover the Gators. Even though it might pay me, we'll get them all in there.
We're going to do it all. And
we'll
plus,
talk UCF. We'll talk USF.
Yeah.
We got FIU. We got you, too.
We'll talk Michigan.
Yeah. We will. No, we will. We'll get it all in here.
I think we've finally seen the line by Kevin.
It was a lot of hesitation.
No,
there.
it's fair. It's fair. We'll do it. So I wanted
I heard
to get
him throw
this
up a little bit in his mouth. That's why.
for you, Gerald. I wanted to say we'll be there. We will cover
There you go.
the Knowles. And we'll start off by talking about DeAndre Francois smoking weed.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about.
There's your coverage,
There
Gerald.
you go.
That's what you want.
Great choices by Knowles.
Interesting stuff already in Tallahassee. DeAndre Francois, guess they had this investigation going on for a while. Got searched 4 different times. They went in, smelled some weed in his apartment.
You got searched 4 different times?
I think 2 times was through the garbage. Twice they went into his apartment, and it was all because he had invited some dude over who was in his apartment in late February and saw a large paper grocery type bag full of weed. Then he calls Tallahassee PD and says, hey, he's got about 2 pounds of weed in there. And so they start going through his garbage looking for stuff.
This guy doesn't know what weed looks like when it's 2 pounds, I guess.
Well, they went through and they found, some stuff like plastic bags with cannabis, empty contents of blunt-type cigars. Oh, the all-telling Bob Marley grinder.
Well, I mean...
Sounds fishy.
I mean, I feel like it's part of the starter kit.
They found an instant drug test cup, 3 vials of pain meds, 2 iPads with broken screens, and 3 iPhones.
Wow.
What the hell is it?
I'm not sure what the broken screens are for, but that sounds pretty fishy.
I mean,
it does.
Have you ever been to Tallahassee? There's not much to do there.
Not much,
Yeah.
Hey, just we to walk around in the woods stoned. That's probably the best bet.
That's what they do
It's
in the
all
afternoon.
full of hookah bars. That's it.
He said when they came in, it's my girlfriend's been smoking the weed, not me.
Oh, he threw under the bus.
He did, threw his girlfriend right under the bus.
That's
Hashtag
rough.
me too.
Yeah, right?
That's not cool.
He said the last time he used marijuana was back in December of 2017. He's still with the team. He's rehabbing the injury that he suffered in that Bama game last year, so he wasn't expected to play anyway in the spring game that they just had over the last weekend. So it does kind of open things up a little bit, though, because Blackman, the Glade Central quarterback that stepped in for DeAndre Francois last year after he got hurt in that Bama game, it's going to be opening that up. And you might probably say that Blackman, even though the guy weighs like 160 pounds,
he's so
is
skinny.
Probably in the lead now for the quarterback.
Do you think so?
Position.
He's higher on the list.
I talked to a dude that's way into the Knowles, big-time booster, too, and he had already heard that it was pretty much neck and neck, and this is before.
Wowzer.
I don't know how much they're going to ding Francois for this because it doesn't look like he's really in any legal trouble. He has to go through some kind of like pretrial diversion program, and that's really about it. So it's not going to be anything serious that's going to affect it, but, it could be one of those things that when you got a really tight quarterback battle, it's here and there.
I wonder what Gerald thinks about this. Who do you think? Gerald,
tweet us back, man.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't bailed on us yet, please.
You might have.
You got your Knowles coverage, Gerald.
It affects your audience, Kev. Here in KVJ, you got to be careful.
Listen, I don't care. So if Gerald wants to go on a Knowles battle, I'm up there. I got my helmet on already.
Bring it,
This
Gerald.
is the best reaction.
Bring it, Gerald.
We ain't scared.
Well, why is the Ohio State quarterback battle so important to the Florida Gators? Could possibly be because whoever loses that competition could be the next quarterback at Florida. Jake Allen, who is the St. Thomas Aquinas grad that was committed to Florida ever since he was a sophomore, just announced that he's going to be transferring from Florida. He's leaving, and it was kind of expected because, Dan Mullen's coming in, runs the spread offense. Jake Allen, your typical pro-style quarterback, and he was all cool and said, hey, no hard feelings.
Yeah.
I think Dan Mullen's doing a great job. Everybody's energized. It's just I need a pro-style offense. This is not going to fit my skill set. Dan Mullen already friends with Urban Meyer, and Urban Meyer has got a quarterback competition and a dude that balled out in his spring game on Saturday. His name's Joe Burrow. Gators fans, pay attention to this dude.
Oh, boy.
He is solid. He threw for over 200 yards. I think he threw like 70 to 80% completion rate. But apparently the raw skills of the other quarterback at Ohio State, they think he still might get the nod, and Joe Burrow is going to be a graduate transfer, and pretty much said that if he doesn't get the starting job at Ohio State, he's bouncing. They expect he could likely land at Florida, taking over that spot, and Florida loves just raping the Buckeyes of quarterbacks because they took Emory Jones, who was committed to Ohio State. He's a 5-star coming in. But they think, okay, it might be nice to have somebody with a little seasoning. It knows a little bit about this offense. Obviously, coming from Urban Meyer's system to Dan Mullen's. Dan Mullen was Urban's offensive coordinator for those national championship teams. They know each other very well. Similar system, so it'd be an easy fit for Joe Burrow to come in and be the Gators starting quarterback this year and give Emory Jones a little bit of time to kind of get himself ready to go.
Is this fishy at all to you guys?
In what way?
Just you think this is racketeering?
Listen.
Where is the conspiracy here, Diener?
It's because nobody's going to UM. Is that why?
Listen, they weren't UM guys, so I'm not going to complain. But I'm going to be like Ricky here, which is probably the worst thing I could ever say in my life.
I wish you have a better beard.
That's fair. I have nothing to come back with on that.
Well, no, you don't. I mean, with that beard, you don't have anything to come back with.
Continue your point.
We all got that one flaw. Have you noticed that? We all that one thing that you can throw out there. Nobody's got to come back for.
Can't say anything.
You're just like, yeah, you got me, man.
Yeah, all right.
Pay me in the corner.
It's a shame. So I'm going to have a little conspiracy theory here.
Okay.
All right.
These guys are friends, Dan Mullen and Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
Obviously, Meyer was the coach of Florida, of course.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a little strange that they're essentially swapping quarterbacks? I mean, it hasn't happened yet that this other guy has come to Florida, but the speculation's already there. I mean, that's not weird at all?
What's strange about it? I mean, other than the fact that these guys are tight, and if you do ultimately, and I think there are two different kind of coaches. There are coaches that only care about themselves, and there are coaches that sometimes do actually care about players.
Okay. Yeah.
And I know Gator fans, this would be hard for you to admit that Urban Meyer might actually have a heart that is not breaking.
I don't think so. I don't think you're getting that out of him.
Not going to get that out of you.
Probably not.
Maybe this could restore faith if he is still tight and say, look, I still like Florida, still love Dan Mullen. It's the best for this kid, Joe Burrow, I'd love to keep him, but he's not going to get the starting job.
Yeah.
He'd be great with you in Gainesville. I mean, why not? Yeah, the worst part about this whole story is Gator fans might have to admit that maybe Urban Meyer could do something cool.
Yeah, could they ever do it again?
Which won't.
They won't, right?
They won't ever do that. But I mean, like, what's the difference between that and like trading somebody?
I don't know. I mean, is there a difference?
It'd be great for him because I can't think of where Joe Burrow, because I was starting to think, I'm like, okay, where would he go? And then after you see, okay, Jake Allen's out of the picture, Emory Jones is a dude that's going to be great, but I mean, do you want to throw a freshman to this right away, year one? Mm-hmm. He has at least a little bit of time. Joe Burrow likely would come in, and with the skill set he's got, this guy's got a ton of experience. I think he's like 3-4 years in. So he knows the offense, would be able to step right in and start running this thing, and it looks good already for year one for Dan Mullen.
And for the Gators,
it's a win-win for everybody.
Exactly. They need a quarterback.
Yeah.
It just kind of looks like collusion. I mean, I don't know.
Collusion?
I mean, he's a graduate transfer. He can play immediately. He's going to be graduating, so he can go right away and start this fall in Gainesville for the Gators. Something to keep your eye on. Who knows?
I like my beard, by the way.
No word on where Jake Allen might wind up, but he's looking for a pro-style offense. Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
You might know the name. He might wind up a Dolphin. He was with the Crimson Tide, and he is not buying UCF as their little claim for the national championship. He said, man, we would have whooped up on them boys. It would have been even close.
Let's do it. I want to see it. I mean, these guys are graduating now, so we can't.
It's really...
I
want to see it.
Come on.
Prove it. Put it all on the gridiron.
Okay, so UCF, I remember that whole thing. UCF, they beat Auburn. They were doing the whole argument of Alabama, Auburn, all this kind of stuff. You work it all around. Yeah, would it have worked? Would it not have worked?
Alabama probably would have won.
UCF would have got their ass kicked.
They probably would have lost.
Oh, my God. They would have got brutalized.
I feel so, too.
Yeah.
And I'm not buying the national championship. I get it. It's cute. It's fun.
That's like saying, like, oh, you won the series in the NBA regular season. When you go against them in the playoffs, you're probably going to beat them there, too. No, you're not.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
There is something out there that apparently in the year 2020, 2 short years away, is going to be bigger in sports than both baseball and the NBA, and it's not now. Your kid knows what it is, and I'll tell you what it is coming up next.
Be part of the show on Twitter at 640 The Hurricane, hashtag Kevin's Other Show.
Does anybody know what this Fortnite is?
I've heard of it. I've never played it. I've heard of it.
I mean, it is got to be pretty compelling.
I've seen a bunch of memes about it.
Yes.
Like girlfriends getting mad at their boyfriends for playing Fortnite.
Yeah.
Those people disgust me.
My sister's a gamer, so I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Oh.
She does it. Whoops.
My bad. Most of those people disgust me. There's a few select people that I'm not so.
I really actually didn't even mean it.
Tell us about your disgusting sister, Diener. Just how disgusting is she?
That just worked out that way. It was pretty good timing. So I've heard of it. I've never played it. It's just one of those. It's like those all immersive world games where you just go in and kind of lose yourself, apparently.
Well, this kid in
kind of
Greensboro, North Carolina, was so into Fortnite he couldn't pull himself away, even despite the fact a tornado was ripping his neighborhood apart.
Priorities, man.
Yeah, he got his siblings apparently hidden away safely, but he continued back to his game, and the news talked to this kid about what the tornado was like and the horror that was going around the neighborhood and how he responded.
So tell us what you were doing and what you saw.
I was sitting at home and I was playing Fortnite, and all of a sudden I just hear a bunch of noise, and I look out the window and I start seeing the roof come off the houses in front of me. But then I sit back down because I only got a couple people left in my gang. I was going to try to finish the game.
No, I'm trying to finish the game.
Only got a couple people left.
He looks out, roofs are coming off of houses. And he's like, you know what? I'll get to that.
He's probably so high. He's like, this game's so real.
I got a game.
Then it just started getting worse, and then I starting the power lines come down. So I told my sister and my nephew to come to the bathroom so everything would be okay.
There you go.
At least responsibility struck in at some point in time.
And then I think he went back to the game after that.
He still had power.
I only got a couple more guys left, so I want to finish my game.
I got to tell you, there's something to it, though. If you've got a kid or you know the power of gaming, I'm a reformed gamer. I quit.
That's right. You were telling us that.
This conversation.
I had a thing in college where I sat down and I was a gamer as a kid. I mean, I grew up, I'm an old dude, so I grew up on like your Pac-Man, your Defender, all that kind of stuff.
I went two sticks and like a ball or something like that. Was that what you played?
Well, I mean,
pick-up sticks or something?
Last one I had was Contra. If y'all remember like 90 video games where you do the up, down, side, and you get like endless lives. Yeah,
Contra code.
AB start select. Yeah,
Yes, I had that. That was all we did. And then in college, I had a week I got into a game and I lost myself and I played video games all the way through a final and just about flunked out of college. And I'm like, I've got a problem. Like I got to step away.
Do you remember what it was? Which game did that to you?
I mean, we thought it was Gran Turismo.
Gran Turismo.
That was a good game.
Racing game.
I was so locked into it.
That has zero stakes to it. How did you get so locked into it?
Because I had a problem. I mean, I really did. I had an intervention with myself. I said, I can't be a gamer. That's just what I would do.
You like burned your video game system in a field.
And the numbers on this stuff is crazy. They say esports could have higher ratings than both MLB and the NBA by the year 2020, 2 years from now.
Jeez.
It's becoming bigger, man. And there's like a lot of money in this stuff too. Like the guys who win these big tournaments, in some of these more popular games, they're getting like $500,000. They're getting sponsors. They make good money.
Some of them have trainers and chefs. They have I'm like,
chefs?
Okay, wait a minute. So wait, you got to have a trainer and a chef? Like what? You have to watch Body and Nutrition?
Is this like Tom Brady?
So that your left thumb is in prime
Are they on the
working
TV12?
condition?
Yeah.
It's do you have how remember Tom Brady had that dude that just follows him around and massages him? Do the big time gamers? Do they have a hand masseuse just walking around and massaging it out constantly? Is they're just like, oh my gosh? I mean, is this what we're going to be looking at here in the world of gaming?
If you play video games for a living, I'm pretty sure your hands are very well taken care of.
You think?
Yeah.
What are you getting at there, Ricky?
Jergens.
Okay.
Need I say any more?
Nope.
This stat's pretty crazy, though. Esports brought in more than $900 million in advertising last year.
I'm saying.
Jesus Christ.
It's getting big.
I've got a 9-year-old, and he's locked in. That's all he does. He's like playing, I think, MLB The Show right now, or one of those. Just came out, and, I mean, that's what's going on. He and his friends locked into it, and he loves sports. I notice he games, and he plays only sporting games, but he watches that more than he watches any sport. So when I see that stat, I'm like, totally. If you're looking at the hours spent staring at a tube, I think in the very near future, and that probably includes the NFL too, you're going to see kids watching. It's going to be the electronic sports more than it's going to be the real sports.
I mean, Madden is one of the biggest tournaments that they have when it comes to the esports. They do it every year around the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
the winner gets like all these prizes. I think this last year, the winner got $1 million for playing Madden football video game.
It's insane.
See, I loved video games too, and then I found out I loved boobs, and then everything changed.
That kind of changed it for you.
Yeah. I know.
I understand.
Luckily, my 9-year-old has not found the joy.
You got some time for
this. All right, time for a new fun game here on Kevin's other show. It's called BA or BAC, meaning batting average or blood alcohol content.
It's a drunk version of Take Me Out to the Ball Game?
This is the creepiest version of Take Me Out.
It sounds like something from American Horror Story.
From your nightmares. Yes. Good Lord.
Oh my gosh.
All right, what I'm going to do here is I am going to give you a number and 2 athletes.
Okay.
You tell me who the number applies to. The number is 400 or .400. 0.400.
Okay.
Does this apply to Mookie Betts or Alden Smith?
So the .400 would be the batting average, right? Am I getting this game right?
Or it could be a blood alcohol level.
It could be Alden Smith's blood alcohol level.
That's really high. That can't be a blood alcohol content.
So what are we talking about here? Is it BA or BAC? And am I talking about Mookie Betts or Aldon Smith? Who do you think I'm talking about when I say .400?
I'm going to go with Mookie.
It has to be, right? I mean, you're dead. You're dead if you have a .40.
Yep, has to be.
Oh, my gosh.
No way!
Aldon Smith's blood alcohol content was .40.
Wow.
Yes.
And he's alive?
You have to be kidding. That can't
I'm
be
not kidding
real.
you. No, that's legit. Look it up.
Wow, we are...
Wow, no, this game, like, when you said that, I was like, oh, this game's going to be easy.
No, I told you this game's going to be hard.
Yeah, this game's going to be tough. Holy crap. All right, what's next?
Okay, you guys are 0 for 1 here. Next number, .344.
Okay.
.344. Does that number apply to Ted Williams?
Right.
Or Dennis Rodman?
Oh, man, that's a good one. This is tough.
Ted Williams or Dennis Rodman?
I really thought this game was going to be easy.
I'm going with the teddy bear.
Teddy bear on that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What do you think, Diener?
Dennis Rodman had some pretty wild days.
Oh, he did.
I'm going to go Rodman here.
Obviously, one of you is correct. Ricky Bobby is correct. Oh! Ted Williams' career batting average is .344.
Wow, good for him.
Think about the career, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's a long
that's
time.
true. I feel like we should be taking shots or something here.
Dude,
right?
I got to work after this, you dope.
BA or BAC? The number is .290. Ooh. Does that apply to Starlin Castro or Mike Tyson?
Oh, man.
.290. Is that a batting average or is that someone's blood alcohol content?
Saddest man in baseball, Starlin Castro.
I can't give it to Starlin. I have to say that's got to be Mike Tyson.
I think it might be Starlin Castro's BAC at the end of the season.
That's actually a good point.
Okay, all right.
If I can go with that one. I think he's doing pretty well. I'll go Castro. I think he's doing pretty well this season.
Diener.
Hey!
Tiebreaker right here.
All right, this is it.
Here we go.
Okay, the number is .179.
Oh, that's a tough number.
.179. Am I talking about Giancarlo Stanton?
Oh, no.
Or Lenny Dykstra?
Oh, Lenny Dykstra's a wild card. Did not see that coming.
Which one's the... Dude, it's the hardest part is trying to figure out which one has the BAC and which one has the BA.
Right.
Okay, am I talking about Giancarlo Stanton or Lenny Dykstra when I give you the number .179?
Lenny Dykstra.
I gotta go Stanton. I have to go Stanton.
And our winner is... Ricky Bobby.
Oh,
Lenny Dykstra's blood alcohol content, .179.
Oh, my God.
There you go.
There's no way that Stanton is batting point anything. It
Is
has
it
to be
lower?
.0. I think it's
Giancarlo
.0.
Stanton is batting 197.
Oh,
it's
that
higher.
really?
Okay.
Oh, I thought it was like .08.
Yeah, so it was pretty close there, yeah.
This song terrifies me, by the way.
This is going to haunt your nightmares now.
Oh, my gosh. I think I'm going to throw up, too. All right. Hey, make sure you check out Kevin's other show. It is on YouTube. That podcast will go right with you anywhere, anytime, and it's on demand as well. Just look for it by name and follow us on Twitter. Everything is Kevin's Other Show.
You listened to him on the KVJ show for years. Every time he tried to talk sports, he'd get shut down. After years of begging, we finally gave in. Brought to you by Wellington Anti-Aging. Low T? Go to WellingtonAntiAging.com. And by Bremen Motor Cars in West Palm Beach.